Hello and welcome to this new video in the SQL section. In this video, we continue further with the joins. You might be surprised to hear that as we have covered most of the things in join. Now what is remaining? We have covered all the join types, inner and outer, namely left, right and full outer join. This video is about a scenario by using the existing joins. So in this video, we are going to see what is a self join. Self join isn't any other type of join. It is a join in which we will use the same table to join by itself. Now you might be thinking what is the need for it. Let us understand this on a scenario, in a scenario. So I have created this table called TBL EMPs. I have already executed the statement for create table and insert, which I'll give it to you as well along with this example. Let us understand this data set first. I have 10 rows of data into this, 10 employees. Each employee has its own unique employee ID because employee ID is primary key, as you can see over here. Then the second column is parent employee ID. Now parent employee ID is nothing but think of it as the manager ID. So the first person doesn't have a parent employee ID because he's at the apex position. He's the founder, John Smith. So he doesn't report to anyone. Whereas from employee 2 onwards, each of them has a reporting manager. So the parent employee ID is nothing but the manager ID. So 2 reports to 1, which means the CEO reports to founder. Then the third person is senior VP who reports to CEO, and likewise. At times you will see one employee might have multiple subordinates under him. So for example, the employee 6 and 7 report to the same employee number 5, who is the manager. And 8, 9 and 10 report to the 7th employee, who is the lead developer. Now what we want to do is, we want to find the name of the manager for each employee. Right now I just have the parent employee ID, but I don't have the manager name. And that's what we need, because if we want to identify who is the manager for a XYZ person, we'll not be able to understand only by looking at the employee ID. And I want that matrix to be created. So let us see how we can do this. So we have select star from TBL EMPs. I say join TBL EMPs. Now as soon as I do so, I'll get an error because I'm writing the table names twice. In order to create separate copies, we'll have to rename them uniquely. So I call them as A and B. And then we'll do a join. Now when you do a join, you have to be very careful because the possibilities over here are going to change, and the output each time when you change the columns in the join expression, your output will be different. So table A, consider that as our master table, which will have all of this information. All right. So the manager's ID, pulling the manager's ID from this table is important. So how will you do that is, you will say A dot parent employee ID is equal to B dot employee ID. Let us first execute this, and you will get lot of columns over here. However, we'll first narrow down to A dot employee ID, comma, A dot parent employee ID, comma, A dot first name or employee name rather, and then we can say A dot title. All right. Now I see 9 rows. Why do I see 9 rows and why not 10 is because here we are doing an inner join. By default it is an inner join. If you observe the first employee, let us do select star from this. So I'll execute both of these together so we can compare. All right. So the first employee doesn't have any parent employee ID. So that is null. So when you do a join on basis of parent employee ID with the employee ID, this null will not have a matching row. Hence, the number of rows in the output are only 9, as you can see. So the founder row or the first employee ID is not present. To simply bring that into picture, what I do is I do a left join. And as soon as I do so, now I get the parent employee ID also. So now I have this. Fine. What I do is, let us add another column over here called as B dot employee name as manager name, and execute this. So now you see the parent ID for the first employee ID is null, hence there is no manager. Whereas the manager for Sam Cook, who is the CEO, he reports to John Smith, and that there I get the name. For Amanda, she reports to Sam Cook. Mike reports to Amanda. Now Rakesh reports to Mike. Now Rehan and Ankit, if you can see over here, both of them reported to number 5, and number 5 is Rakesh Dev. And all the remaining employees from 8 to 10, Aman, Joe, and Mitchell, they report to Ankit. And hence, the employee 7 is the manager for all of them. Apart from the first scenario, where is the result, the change in the result as compared to join versus left join or inner join versus left join, you know now, only the first row being the difference. The most important point over here is this expression. So although we created two copies of this table, A and B, that's fine. So A we will treat it as employees table and B we will treat it as managers table. Keep that in mind. But the join condition is of utmost importance over here. So what we want to do is when we do the join, we will take the parent employee ID, the manager's ID from the A and the employee ID from the B. If you change this, the output will change definitely. I don't want to go into it right now. It will create confusions, but just remember these things. All right. And then what we can do is, now once we are sorted with this, I'll reduce the unwanted columns from here. We don't want the parent employee name, employee ID, and that's it. Maybe we can skip title also if you want. That's up to you. Okay. We can take up the title from here. So this is how you get the manager names by joining the table itself when there is no other separate hierarchy table or a managers table. This is one scenario. The next scenario that I want to cover in this example is there is also a salary column, and it is quite obvious that some of the persons who are reporting to the manager, they themselves are earning more than the manager. So for example, you can see over here, Mike Henry is the VP. He is higher in the hierarchy. So he earns 40,000. Whereas manager Rakesh Dev, who reports in turn to him, he is earning more than him. So this is the scenario that we want to identify. And this is a common one of the questions also which can come to you. Identify the employees who are earning more than their managers. So I can copy this entire thing, and what we can do is we can just say comma a dot salary comma a dot salary comma b dot salary to begin with. So side by side, if you plot these two columns, you will be able to compare easily. Look at this. This number is greater than this. So Rakesh is earning more than his or her manager. All right. Likewise, we may or may not have any other instances. There is another one. For example, Rehan, he's earning 60,000, whereas his manager, Rakesh Dev, he's earning less than him. So these are the things that we want to identify. How can you do so? All you have to do is just put a filter over here. You can say where A dot salary is greater than B dot salary. So if you write this, this is the way you get. Look at this. The salary for Amanda Johnson is greater than Sam Cook. The salary for Rakesh Dev is 50,000, but his manager Mike Henry was 40,000. For Rehan, it was 60,000, but Rakesh, his manager, was 50,000. So this is the way you can simply get all those names who are earning more than their managers. So these are the typical scenarios where you would need to do a self-join. Hope these two examples explain you. That's it on self-join. See you in the next video.